So what happened at Ironwood State Prison? That's a level 3 facility in Blythe, California, Southern California. On January 31st, 2024, at approximately 10:07 hours, two members of the Investigative Services Unit, ISU, were conducting a cell search of a cell, which is normal routine. Sometimes they get information that an inmate may be in possession of contraband, or they just do a random search. Well, at that time, there was a full yard of inmates outside. So from inside sources that have relayed information to me, there's 5 buildings on the yard, but one of the buildings was inactive, meaning it's empty of inmates. The other 4 buildings each house 200 inmates each. So that's 800 inmates on the yard. That day, there was approximately 8 officers on that yard. So you can see that ratio, 800 to 8. During the course of the officer's search, it appears they found some contraband. They had the inmate placed in handcuffs and were escorting him to the medical, which is common practice. They usually have to get a medical evaluation done prior to getting placed in administrative segregation, ADSEG. During the course of the escort, right when they were in the middle of the yard, the inmate headbutted the officer, one of the officers, and kicked another officer, which resulted in the officers utilizing physical force and forcing the inmate to the ground. In other words, slamming him to the ground. Once, I gotta make a notation on this, that inmate that was slammed was part of the Sureño gang on behalf of the Mexican mafia. So these are the street soldiers, the soldiers for the Mexican mafia. There is a common rule amongst themselves that if one Southern Hispanic gang member gets involved in any altercation with any correctional officer or any other gang faction, they are all to assist without delay. And that's exactly what happened. It kicked off. One inmate initiated a massive staff assault. That's what we call a staff assault, and encouraged everybody to jump up and assist. So at the time, there were 276 inmates rushed those officers on scene and began to beat them with their fists, their feet. There was rocks the size of softballs that they were utilizing, hitting the officer, hit a sergeant in the back of the head. So that's scary when you have 200 plus inmates swarming you and assaulting you. Technically, that is a lethal force, deadly force scenario, which in turn, the observation officer in the tower did utilize the Ruger Mini 14 rifle, which is a lethal rifle chambered in .223. Did fire a warning shot. It appeared to stop them for a moment. But I've been involved in numerous incidents like this. The technique they use, they'll get down and then they'll just jump back up and resume. They'll get down. It's like a wildfire just sparking up and down until they're finally tired, until they're finally done. They called numerous medevac helicopters for the correctional peace officers due to their injuries, numerous ambulances. So basically it was a mass casualty situation, which is usually normal when it comes to these type of assaults with the magnitude. The problem, well, there's numerous problems. The problem is we, as the California Department of Corrections, have an alarm response policy, right? And that in itself is confidential information. However, it requires the next adjacent yard, the next adjacent facility to assist if something major, such as a Code 3 riot or staff assault, were to occur. Well, that yard was completely empty. So there's no help that was coming. Their first and immediate help that was right next door was not there. A problem with this is one of the reasons why I left the California Department of Corrections is because how unsafe it has become. There is such a push to run program. No matter the devastating low staffing levels, they still want you to run a full yard full of inmates, day room, canteen, because you have to realize that a prison is like a little city. There's things have to get done. But safety and security has gone completely out the window. And this is just one of many to come. And all the officers have been reaching out to me and voicing their concerns over these type of assaults. So the California Department of Corrections at one point in time had 33 prisons, all the way from Pelican Bay State Prison, which is on the border of Oregon in Northern California, all the way down to Ironwood, which is the southernmost prison. And so 33 in between. However, the headquarters, the brains of the operation, are stationed out of Sacramento. Those administrators and managers have been in Sacramento for far too long and removed from the actual prison yards and buildings that they don't have a clue of what is transpiring at the ground level. Not only do they have a clue, they don't care. They don't. There's a push. You can Google the California model. The California model is something that somebody up there in Sacramento, coming from Governor Newsom, not wants, because it's happening already. He wants the California Department of Corrections to emulate the correctional system in Norway, the country of Norway. So they actually sent managers and employees to Norway on taxpayers' money to go tour their prisons. And the way they operate over there is like college dorm rooms, nice comfy beds. The officers and the inmates shake hands and hug and high five each other, and it's like a friendly thing. However, I have 16 years of experience working in the California Department of Corrections as an officer, a sergeant, and a lieutenant. And California is definitely not Norway. I mentioned some of the gangs already. The Sureños, the Norteños, those are the Northern Hispanics, the Bloods, the Crips, the Bulldogs, the Bay Area inmates, the Mexican Mafia, the Nuestra Familia, the Black Guerrilla Family, the Aryan Brotherhood. The politics in California moves so different and is so violent that it is even more violent than any other state in the United States when it comes to the prison system. What's happening is you have these young, inexperienced officers coming straight from the streets. I mean, 21-year-old kids. They do not have a clue as to what they have just gotten themselves into. They are going into the department fully entrusting their leadership when their leadership definitely does not have their best interest in mind and will sacrifice their safety. I've seen it over and over again. There's a reason why I resigned, in order to further push the agenda of the California model. You know, let me be the one to tell you, Governor Newsom recently changed San Quentin State Prison. He just changed the name to San Quentin Rehabilitation Center in an attempt to dissuade the masses and make it believe that it's something, but it's the same exact prison. However, something I have never seen in my entire career that is extremely dangerous is they are now playing sports, forcing the officers to play sports against the inmates. Basketball games, softball games, pickleball. As a matter of fact, in Salinas Valley State Prison, they got the most problematic child inmate with numerous staff assaults to play a game of foosball. You know, the foosball table with the little soccer players. The following day, he came out and stabbed one of the officers with a pen. That's how much of a failure this program is.